Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. And this video is to bring you a closer look at the transatlantic number Sf Ip30-DU. This is a Kawanier type intermediate pivot is what it is. The Ip30 means Kawanier style for an intermediate pivot. The DU means dark bronze anodized, as you can see, or equal to dark bronze anodized. Also available, of course, in aluminum. Substitute the DU for the AL, and you'll get the aluminum item. And this is what the pivot would look like if your door was, let's say, a left-hand reverse. From your perspective, the door would swing out this way. Okay, completely reversible. All you would do, really, is pull this plastic cap off the bottom, put it on the other side. You've got to, of course, turn it around, and you've got the opposite hand. Okay. Screws are included. Now let's get let's get a frame of reference. So speaking of frame of reference, your frame, this leg here is going to be mortised flush to the frame, and your frame will sit right here. Okay. The door pocket is here naturally. And that's the frame portion. A couple of screws. You've got then, of course, the door portion. And those two screws that you see there, they're concealed when the door is in the closed position. You can't get anything to those. And even if you could remove them, you wouldn't be able to lift the door off because this preparation here. Okay. I'm going to give you some dimensional properties. You might not be sure if this is the item. The dimensions, if you're matching existing, will certainly help. Overall height of the intermediate pivot, 1.5 inches. And overall length, well, width, I suppose, about 2 13/16. This is going to be a 3/4 inch offset pivot, so that means from where the door resides to the center line of here will be 3/4 inch. Let's take a look at the centers on these screw holes as measured from the back of it. So if you'll orient your piece to match my tape measure, you'll see you're about 5/16 and then over to about 1 3/16. Okay. Now your door portion, overall height of that, about 2 1/4. Overall width, about 1 5/16. You can study where the locations of the screw holes are from one end, 1/4 inch to about 1 1/16. Overall projection, about 1 3/16. Okay. There is a description of the item below this video. Transatlantic intermediate pivots are intended for taller doors. Very commonly, you're going to see a Kawanier door and frame without an intermediate pivot, just a top and bottom. That's very common. But if you're doing a new installation, insist on intermediate pivots because it does so significantly increase the longevity of the opening that it's hard to make an argument against them. Or tall doors where you require something between the top and bottom. If you've got an 8-foot door, technically you need a top and bottom and then 2 intermediate pivots, whereas for a 7-foot door you'd have 1. Intended for use on both flush frame installations and 1/8 of an inch recessed door applications. That means when you're standing on the pull side of the door and you pull the door open towards you, when the door is closed, if you ran your hand over the door and frame, the door very commonly in aluminum installations is flush with the face of the frame. Sometimes it's kicked in just a little bit, like 1/8 of an inch. This will tolerate both instances, and it just really depends on how the material is prepped in terms of especially the frame. The pivots obviously being an offset pivot because that vertical axis of pivoting is not in the center of the door, it's offset from the face of the door, is why it wouldn't be compatible with a center hung. Suitable for aluminum doors weighing up to 125 pounds. That is well within the range of aluminum doors. Pivots are engineered and designed for durability, style, and are easy to install. They really are. They're easy to install provided you can get the door open. If the door is closed, the hardware is designed not to really be tampered with. But it's all very simple and straightforward. There's mounting plates that are certainly in the frame that is attached to the frame. So in a circumstance like this, you're probably going to see a hole above and below it. That will be indicative of a plate that's mounted inside of there. You don't want to remove those holes just these two so that you can remove the hardware and continue on with the prep or the change out of the material. And that is very much the majority of times that we're selling pivots to clients is when they're simply replacing old worn out pivots. When a pivot goes bad, the door will scrape against the floor, it will no longer sit plumb inside of the frame. All of that needs to be mitigated immediately. These pivots are really inexpensive. They're simple to replace in most instances, and not replacing them is going to give wear and tear on the door and certainly the frame, and cause, quite frankly, a larger problem. These pivots are dirt cheap compared to the cost of aluminum and a new aluminum door and frame, so don't hesitate. If you need any help determining which pivot you need, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to help determine what you need. There is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all the transatlantic items that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's product catalog, very handy. Transatlantic, here's what you want to know about them. If you're a subcontractor and you install doors and frames, Transatlantic is going to be a go-to when it comes to hinges, door closers, lock sets, and exit devices. Here in Chicago and to the client base that we have been selling Transatlantic to for literally decades, they know it as the TACO, Transatlantic Company. And those door closers are, in my opinion, the finest quality imported door closer, bar none, in terms of failure rate, which is practically zero. Their exit devices are phenomenal, great value. You'll be able to provide quality hardware to your client and do so in such a way where the client says, wow, it feels like I got a good deal. And that's Transatlantic. Any questions on the, let's see here now, the Sf Ip30 Duranodic Intermediate Kawanier style replacement intermediate pivot, or any other Transatlantic product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.